Some people search for their birth parents to find answers. Jocelyn searched for her birth mother to say two simple words, thank you, to let her birth mother know her heart is full of gratitude and um, just love for giving her life and a chance at happiness. Stay tuned with me to hear her story, and don't forget to show your support by smashing that like button and leaving a rose in the comments for all the birth mothers who choose love above all else. My client, who I'll call Jocelyn, came to DNAngels to find both of her biological parents. She was adopted, and she was most interested in finding her birth mother to commend her and thank her for making that very difficult decision. She knew it must have been super difficult to do what she did, and um, Jocelyn thought that um, her her birth mother might often think about her and wonder if she made the right choice. And Jocelyn wanted to have the opportunity to tell her that she did a good thing and that um, she was happy and she had a great life. And um, she had been trying for years to find her, but she had been unsuccessful. So Jocelyn came to DNAngels and I was assigned to her case. So I started with one side of her matches, and it ended up being her paternal side. So I ended up working her paternal side first. Now, Jocelyn already had done some of her own research and had come up with a name who she thought was her biological father. So at that point, she was really just looking for confirmation. So I built the tree and attached her matches, and I came to a family with the same name that Jocelyn had come up with. Now I could narrow it down to two brothers. Now, one of the brothers had a descendant of his who had tested, and that allowed me to identify which brother was Jocelyn's father. So I was able to identify her father. Now, the great news was that he was still living, and if she wanted to, she could make contact with him whenever she was ready. But her real desire was to talk to her mother. She really wanted to thank her for that difficult decision that she made. Jocelyn figured her biological father might not even know that she existed, but her mother definitely knew. So I began working Jocelyn's maternal side. I was really, really hoping and praying that her mother was still living and that it wasn't too late and that she would be able to say thank you to her. So as I built the tree and I placed the DNA matches, I came to a family that I'll call the Rose family. Now, the Roses had four children, and three of the children were girls. Now, sadly, one of the daughters had passed at a young age from a car accident, but there were matches who descended from that sister, and they only matched Jocelyn as cousins, not as half siblings. So I was able to eliminate that daughter from being Jocelyn's mother. So that left two women as possible birth mothers. Now, Jennifer, the first sister, I'll call Jennifer, she was born in 1953, and her sister Beth was born in 1954. Now, of course, those are aliases, those names have been changed. So Beth was born in 1954 and Jennifer was born in 1953. Now, Jocelyn, my client, she was born in 1974. So either of those sisters could definitely be her mother. Now, from my research, I found that Jennifer, um, the older of the two girls, never had any documented children. I couldn't find any children. And there wasn't really too much information to be found on her by exploring social media sites. I was able to find a somewhat recent picture of her, and from all I could find, she was still living. Now, Beth, on the other hand, she had a lot of social media posts. Beth had recently celebrated a milestone anniversary. She and her husband have 3 children, and she's been blessed with grandchildren. There were several pictures of her and her family online. So that was great. And of course, she's still living also. So I provided the information to Jocelyn and gave her contact information for both women, and then she could decide which one she wanted to reach out to. So a couple weeks went by, and Jocelyn gave me an update. She said she had reached out to Beth, the one that has the kids and the grandchildren. It turns out that she is not Jocelyn's biological mother. So that just leaves her sister, Jennifer. Now, Beth told Jocelyn about a time in her life where she and Jennifer didn't speak to one another. Their father had died when they were teens, and their mother was very depressed. So the two of them were left to pretty much raise themselves. Now, Jennifer went radio silent because it was just too painful to be with Beth. And so Beth didn't know very much about Jennifer's life during that time, which also happened to be around the time when Jocelyn was born. Jennifer, Beth remembers visiting with Jennifer, which would have been probably just a few months after Jocelyn was born. And then after that, the two sisters went without contact for 20 years. But about 9 years ago, Jennifer and Beth reunited, and they've been building on their relationship. Beth believes that Jennifer is, sort of has a fragile state of mind, um, and she's worried about bringing up the memory of placing a child for adoption would be very detrimental to her, to her emotional health. So Beth decided that she wanted to keep this from Jennifer for now. However, Beth is very excited to meet Jocelyn, her newfound niece, and they're trying to find a time and place where they can meet. And she did mention that Jennifer never did have any other children. So I know I'm just a search angel and I need to take a back seat once the searching is complete. I have to respect the decisions that family members make, and I do. However, I can't help as a human being to put myself in the position that some of these players are in and decide what I would do. So if it were me and I was just told the name of my birth mother who is living, I feel like I would have to reach out to her to hear her voice, to thank her for making that difficult decision of placing me into adoption. Even if that meant rejection, I feel like I would have to reach out. I had another case recently where one of the 3 brothers was a biological father who I had been looking for a client. Now, 2 of those men were deceased, but one of the brothers was 91 years old and was still living, and he never had any known children. So his nieces decided that it was best not to tell him at his age. And for me, again, I respected their decision, and it's not my place to even give an opinion about their decision. But for me, internally, it made me sad. In my mind, I think that he would want to know that he had a child and he has grandchildren. But like I said, I have to respect the decision made by his family. So I'm wondering, what would you do if you were Jocelyn? Leave me a comment and let me know if you agree with me or with the family's decision. And while you're at it, hit that like button and leave some roses to show your support for Jocelyn and all the women who make the decision to place their child into adoption. So that's where Jocelyn's story stands for now. A chapter still open, filled with love, gratitude, and hope for what's to come. And personally, I hope um, that Beth finds a way to talk to her sister Jennifer, let her know that Jocelyn has reached out and is looking for her, and hopefully Jennifer would have the desire to reach out to Jocelyn and get to know her. So, thank you for listening and for being part of the DNA Angels community. Now, don't forget to leave that part, or I'm sorry, today we're leaving a rose below to show your love and support. I'm Lori, and until next time, may every search lead to truth, every truth lead to healing, and every heart find its way home.